that being said, let's get started. So I am going to be sharing my screen. We'll be going through a PowerPoint about how to circulate petitions, both for candidates and for volunteers. If anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat. Jessica, I'm going to enlist you to kind of manage that. If there are questions that you know how to answer, please feel free to do so. I will address all the questions that people have at the end of our presentation. So to get started, let's talk about the timeline. So petitions begin tomorrow, which is February the 16th. That is the first day that you are able to circulate petitions. The last day that you can circulate petitions is going to be March 9th. And if you, sorry for the mess up here. So if you are intending to circulate petitions with the Center County Democrats, specifically for some of our statewide elections, so that will include Pennsylvania Supreme Court, Pennsylvania Superior Court, and the Commonwealth Court, we will need you to bring those petitions back to us by March 3rd at 6 p.m. Likewise, if you are circulating for other candidates, it would be best that you return those petitions sooner than March 9th. So I'm going to go through some of the rules for petition circulators. So in order to circulate petitions in Pennsylvania, you must be a Democrat. We would encourage you to use a black or blue pen. Obviously, you cannot gather any signatures prior to February 16th or after March 9th of 2021. When you are gathering your signatures, they must be dated in sequential order. And the reason that this is sometimes people will write the wrong dates. So if that were to occur, you strike it out and have them rewrite it. If you are circulating petitions, you will also need to complete the statement of circulator, which is on each page of your petition after all of the signatures have been gathered. So typically you just want to fill it out right before you turn it back in, either to the County Board of Elections or to the candidate that you are circulating for. Something that's new is circulators do not need to get their petitions notarized. So before, we used to have to get them notarized. We used to have notary nights, or you would have to pay for it to be notarized. So that is not something we need to worry about anymore. If you are planning to circulate on behalf of the candidate, you'll want to ensure that you're communicating with them or their campaign. So they're likely going to want to know how many signatures you've gathered on a daily or weekly basis so that they can measure their own progress. This is what the statement of circulator will look like. This will be at the top of your petition. I'm going to go through some of the rules for signers. So as a petition circulator, it is your responsibility to ensure that the signer is following the directions. People make mistakes. They make a lot of mistakes. But as a petition circulator, you are there to ensure that this does not occur or that those incorrect signatures get striked out. So what happens when there is a bad signature is that it is invalid, and the petition or that particular signature can be contested and thrown out. What this means is that candidates might not be able to appear on the primary ballot. So for those of you who have attended our candidate trainings, you have a minimum amount of signatures you must get to get on the ballot, but we always encourage you to get double, if not triple that amount, to ensure that if there are mistakes, you still make it onto the ballot. Some of the tips that we have is to first ask if they are a registered Democrat in the district, if they've signed any petitions thus far, and which ones. This is important to ask because it applies to the specific petitions that you might be circulating, such as school board districts, townships, or boroughs. So we'll go into how many petitions a person can sign in a little bit. Once that person has fallen under the many categories that you're looking for, they're a Democrat in the district, they haven't signed any petitions, or they haven't reached their maximum, then you'll want to watch them as they're filling out the petition. You never want to leave that petition unattended. So you don't want to leave it out on your porch to ask people to just stop by and sign it. You can't make sure that there are mistakes that don't occur. Something else you'll want to do is bring voter registration and vote by mail applications with you. So if someone is not registered to vote, you can register them and then they can sign a petition. Likewise, it's great to hit two birds with one stone. You bring the vote by mail application with you. That'll encourage them to apply for a mail-in ballot. This is also really important because primaries are elections that people don't frequently turn out for. If you encourage them to apply for that mail-in ballot, they're more likely to vote. Another rule is no ditto marks. So this is what it will look like, and I'll show you an example in a bit. Additional rules for signers. So under the place of residence, the signer must indicate their municipality, which is their township or borough. It is not their postal address, which is also what we consider the city. So an idea or a strategy to utilize is to suggest that the signer fill in the place of residence first to avoid that knee-jerk reaction of filling in the postal address after writing in the house number and street name. This signer should also use their name as they are registered to vote. So if they have Chuck Brown, he's likely registered as a Charles Brown. You might want to ask them ahead of time just to clarify. For big errors, you'll just want the voter to draw a line through the entire row and re-sign on the next line. So for those of you who are going to encounter some questions about boroughs and townships, we have this map here. So this will show you all of the municipalities in the county. We have different printed maps. I can also send you an email with the maps that we have available. Might be helpful to have one on you. And then this is one of the last rules to keep in mind for signers is, have they signed other petitions and which ones? So the rule of thumb is you can only sign petitions for as many candidates for each office as you are permitted to vote. So I have a number of examples here, and they will be on the back of a petition circulation guide that's a one-pager, just so you have it on you, which I'll send in an email after this. But for example, there's only one candidate that can win for the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, one candidate that can win for the Superior Court. There can only be one mayor. Each school district is different. So in most of the areas, they have 3 to 4 open seats available. So sometimes they will be helpful to just have these on a list just in case people have questions. So they can only sign that as many for the candidates that are able to win for each office. Here are some examples of what a good petition looks like versus a bad petition. So a good petition looks like I signed in the correct spot, I printed my name in the correct spot, and I filled in my municipality, which is Ferguson, not State College. And then I also made sure to leave the date here. Here are the examples that are bad. So the first is that instead of writing my municipality, which is Ferguson, I wrote State College, which is what my postal address would be if I were to be receiving a package. The second is ditto marks. So this is what ditto marks look like. Where you will typically encounter this is whenever you are going door to door and there are multiple Democrats in the household that want to sign the petition. So maybe the first person in the household signs the petition, and then the second person goes and thinks, well, the person above me has the same exact information, I'll just put the ditto marks. That is not acceptable. They must fill it in the same as everyone else. Likewise, although this isn't frequent, just making sure that they sign and print their name in the correct columns. So because this is a place where people might make frequent mistakes, we created these petition tip cards. So it's a little sheet of paper that you can staple to the top of your petition. It has the 3 reminders here. Only registered Democrats can sign, use your full name, and no ditto marks. Here, citizens can utilize this QR code to quickly search what municipality they live in if they don't know it off the top of their head. So this will bring them to one of the Pennsylvania Department of State websites. And there they could likely also access what particular districts that they live in if they also do not know that information. I'm going to go through some tips that we have for candidates specifically. So obviously, petition circulation during a pandemic is not ideal. It's not ideal for the candidates, it's not ideal for volunteers, and it's not ideal for the party. So as a candidate, you are going to be hard pressed to go door to door for signatures. If you are in an at-risk category and this is a non-negotiable for you, please reach out to the CCDC or plan a thoughtful strategy to ensure that you will get on the ballot. If you are a candidate running, you're going to want to enlist volunteers. Reach out to your friends and family to help with circulating petitions. We will train them and we will give them the resources needed to do it effectively. Another new thing that will be occurring this week is typically for candidates, they have to get one petition notarized. But in response to the pandemic, the commissioners will be approving an affidavit that has been put forth by the Pennsylvania Department of State on Thursday, the 18th, which is this coming Thursday, which will make notarization a non-issue for candidates. So this affidavit will be available on the Center County Elections website, which is centercountyvotes.com, within the next 2 days. Candidates will fill this form out and attach it to their petitions when they submit them at the County Board of Elections office towards the end of petition season. If you are printing petitions, you want to be really careful about how you do that. So you want to make sure that they're copied exactly as their original. They must be printed on legal paper. They must be two-sided, copied head to head. I'm going to go through some COVID protocols and strategies that the PA Democratic Party provided to us. So a great one for both candidates and for volunteers is to start with a list of voters. This minimizes the number of people you get in contact with, and you'll be spending your time effectively by focusing on voters who are likely to sign. So the CCDC can provide you with a walk list. This can be printed, or you can use Minivan, which I will discuss in a few slides. The second option is to call voters to find signers. So you can call through a list of voters to identify people who are willing to sign your petitions. This is a great way to schedule appointments ahead of time, and then you can go by to get their signature. We would suggest if you try to do this, that you try to schedule your appointments on the same day, on the same street. Great way to maximize your time. The other option that we're also promoting is getting signatures in your pod. So if you're at an at-risk group, or if you're a volunteer and you do want to help, but you don't want to knock doors, just try to get signatures within your pod. So if your pod is just the members of your household, maybe a few neighbors, whatever it may be, we will gladly accept those signatures because every single one counts. If you are going to be circulating petitions going door to door, we do have a number of suggestions for you. The first being using PPE. So wear a mask. The CDC recommends that you double up on your masks. You can also use a face shield. They are not nearly as effective, but the public perception of wearing a face mask and a face shield goes over well with the public. So we do have face shields at the office that you can get as well. We encourage you to wear disposable gloves, switching those gloves between door to door. You'll also want to bring hand sanitizer with you and other cleaning products if you're going to be using the same pens or the same clipboards. So as stated, the supplies that you will likely want to bring in addition to your PPE will be a clipboard, an envelope to hold your signed petitions, which is especially important if it's snowing or raining. You don't want your petitions to get ruined. Multiple pens, disinfectant wipes, and a trash or plastic bag so you can throw in the used PPE. Another things to keep in mind if you are going door to door, you want to stay outside. So you want to gather your signatures in outdoor settings. which is likely going to be very common because you will be visiting voters on their doorstep. Even if it is cold outside, or if you need to use the restroom, it's best not to step inside someone's home. When you are doing your petition circulation, you'll want to make an effort to maintain social distancing. So even if you are talking face to face, make sure to maintain that 6 feet. These are step-by-step instructions for petition circulators. I'll quickly run through it. This was provided from the PA Democratic Party. So if you are going to be with a partner, which is also a great way to go about it, it's helpful to bring multiple sets of the resources you need. So 2 clipboards, multiple pens, enough disposable gloves, or a bottle of hand sanitizer so that you are able to have multiple things at your disposal. You want to make sure that you're not touching high contact surface areas when you go to knock doors. You want to make sure that you're keeping the adequate amount of 6 big steps between yourself and the voters. Once the signer comes to the door, introduce yourself, explain why you're there, ask if they'll sign your petition. And if they say yes, you can give it to them, walk back a bit. You could provide them with one of your own pens, offer that they run into their home to get their own pen if they don't want to touch yours. And if you have a lot of hand sanitizer with you, you might want to offer some to them. And once they've signed your petition, you'll want to slide it back into your large envelope for safekeeping. And one suggestion that they have here is using a new form for each person. That's totally up to you if you prefer to do that. Just make sure that you are sanitizing between each household, and that if you are utilizing wipes and gloves, to throw them away in between households. So what is Minivan? Minivan is our mobile canvassing application. So this is available on the App Store or Google Play for free. So what this is a version of walk lists. So if you volunteered for the party before, you will typically get a paper walk list, which lists all the doors, the addresses, all the basic information for the individual. If you do not want to use paper lists, I can provide you with a list which you can use on your phone. And for those of you who aren't familiar with how Minivan works, I can send you a training video and presentation, which is available upon request. For those of you who are not candidates, or if you are looking to circulate petitions for fellow candidates, you can pick up petitions and materials at the CCDC office. We have a number of materials that we're providing for free to volunteers. So we can provide you with printed petitions, petition resources such as the Petition Tip Card or a 1-pager on how to circulate petitions. We have clipboards, pens, face masks, face shields, disposable gloves, and hand sanitizer packets. We only ask that if you do utilize our clipboards, that you bring them back. If you need a walk list and you intend to door knock your neighborhood, please send me an email. That is my email on the slide. If you need a printed list for pickup at our office, please specify that. For the next few weeks, I have our office hours listed here. So tomorrow, the first day of petitions, will be open from 3 to 6 p.m. And then the following week, we will have office hours from Monday the 22nd to Friday the 26th from 11 to 3 p.m. I am available to set up appointments if you need to come in at a different time. And if you are at risk and you're unable to come to the office, please reach out to us and we can have your materials delivered to you. Another option for both candidates and volunteers is we have some events coming up. So the first is a candidates and cocktails happy hour. This is an opportunity for voters to meet and greet with some candidates. We will be featuring some statewide judicial candidates, municipal and school board candidates. This event will be Friday, February 19th, which is this Friday from 5:30 to 7:30 on Zoom. We'll have it set up with a number of breakout rooms that you can filter in and out of if you have specific people you'd like to speak to. This is an opportunity to figure out who you want to sign petitions for. If you already know who you want to sign petitions for, please come to our day of action that we'll be hosting Sunday the 21st. This is a Petitions and President's Day theme of action. We will be in our headquarters office, which is the Allen Way building in the atrium from 1 to 4 p.m. So there are a few opportunities there. You can come in and sign petitions for any candidate. You can pick up petition materials if you intend to circulate, and you can participate in our food bank drive. If you are circulating petitions, you will also need to bring those petitions back. So if you are circulating for statewide judicial candidates, we must get those back by Tuesday, March 3rd. And we will be hosting collection times at our office on the 3rd and the 4th of March from 4 to 7 p.m. But if those times do not work for you, please feel free to slide them under the door in it, or we will have a collection envelope taped outside the door. And my final tips that I'll leave you with petition circulation before we jump right into questions is, first of all, it is far better to ask than to assume. When in doubt, strike it out. So if you think someone made a mistake, strike it out and have them try again. Use the resources that we provided you, not only the petition information, so the tip card, this PowerPoint, the video, and the instruction documents. Also, please use all of the PPE that we're providing. And if you need more petitions, voter registration forms, or vote by mail forms, we are happy to provide you with anything that you need at any time. All right.